In the year 2012, Tina Brown found herself facing a unanimous jury verdict of first-degree murder, with the death penalty unanimously recommended. Subsequently, a judge, in September 2012, pronounced the grim sentence of death. Currently, Brown resides on death row at Lowell Correctional Institution Annex. Contrastingly, in 2013, Brittany Miller faced a jury conviction of second-degree murder, leading to a recommended life sentence. The judge, in February 2013, upheld this recommendation, and Miller is now serving her sentence within the confines of Homestead Correctional Institution. In the year 2014, Heather Lee opted for a no-contest plea to second-degree murder. In exchange for her cooperation in testifying against Brown and Miller, she secured a reduced sentence of 25 years in prison. The judge formalized this arrangement in January 2014, and Lee is presently serving her term at Lowell Correctional Institution. How did they get there? Back in March 2010, Tina Brown, along with her 16-year-old daughter Brittany Miller, Heather Lee, and Audreanna Zimmerman, inhabited neighboring trailers within an Escambia County mobile home park. Initially bonded as friends, particularly Miller, Brown, and Zimmerman, their relationship soured, leading to frequent violent escalations. The intricacies of their strained relationships involved accusations and counter-accusations. Brown accused Zimmerman of slashing her tires, while Zimmerman accused Brown of breaking her car window, orchestrating her boyfriend's arrest, and reporting inadequate childcare to the Florida Department of Children and Families. Lee, in her testimony, revealed intervening multiple times to prevent physical altercations between Miller and Zimmerman. One significant incident involved Miller, upon discovering Zimmerman's involvement with her boyfriend, attempting to strike Zimmerman. In self-defense, Zimmerman countered with a stun gun. Lee later informed Brown of this incident, sparking a retaliatory determination from Brown. Several days after these events, on March 24, 2010, Brown, under the pretense of rekindling friendship, invited Zimmerman to her home. Unbeknownst to Zimmerman, a sinister plan unfolded within the trailer. Brown, Miller, Lee, and Miller's 13-year-old friend were present. The horrifying assault. The night of March 24, 2010, marked the descent into unimaginable darkness as Tina Brown, Brittany Miller, Heather Lee and Audreanna Zimmerman became entangled in a horrifying sequence of events that would leave one of them scarred for life and the others condemned by the justice system. Inside the trailer, a sinister atmosphere hung heavy. Brown and Lee were in the kitchen, where Lee provided grim instructions on the usage of a stun gun. Meanwhile, Miller pulled her 13-year-old friend aside, whispering ominous words, "We're fixing to kill Audreanna." As the clock neared 9 p.m., Zimmerman entered the trailer, oblivious to the malevolence awaiting her. Brown, armed with a stun gun, unleashed a merciless assault. The initial shocks left Zimmerman incapacitated on the floor, screaming and crying for help. Instead of mercy, she found only more agony. Brown, fueled by a vengeful rage, continued to deploy the stun gun on Zimmerman, whose pleas for help echoed in the confined space. The chilling screams reverberated, but they fell on deaf ears. The assailants, rather than showing remorse, intensified the brutality. In a disturbing turn of events, Brown dragged Zimmerman into the bathroom. The struggle continued as Lee stuffed a sock into Zimmerman's mouth to stifle her cries. The cruelty was relentless, and the assailants seemed impervious to the human suffering they were inflicting. Zimmerman, now forcibly subdued, was dragged outside and thrown into the trunk of Brown's vehicle. The trio, devoid of empathy, embarked on a journey to a desolate clearing in the woods. It was a place where the veil of humanity was torn away, revealing a profound malevolence. Upon reaching their destination, Brown pulled Zimmerman out of the trunk. Desperation led Zimmerman to attempt escape, but in the darkness, she stumbled and was caught by Brown and Miller. The woods bore witness to a macabre scene as the assailants, like predators, pounced on their prey. Brown and Miller unleashed a barrage of violence on Zimmerman, switching between a stun gun and a crowbar. The woods echoed with the sounds of agony as Zimmerman fought for her life. The brutality escalated, with Miller, in a chilling display, dropping the stun gun to physically assault Zimmerman. The turning point came when Brown retrieved a can of gasoline from the trunk. The intent was clear, to escalate the horror to an unimaginable level. Zimmerman, already battered and broken, was doused in gasoline. Brown, holding a lighter in hand, callously set Zimmerman ablaze. As the flames consumed Zimmerman, a grotesque spectacle unfolded. Lee, standing beside Miller, exhibited a disturbing enthusiasm, jubilantly cheering on the horrifying act. "Burn, bitch! Burn!" she screamed, encapsulating the sheer depravity of the moment. After subjecting Zimmerman to an unspeakable ordeal, the assailants returned to the car and drove away, leaving behind a trail of darkness. In the aftermath, Miller's casual remark about forgetting her shoes and the stun gun highlighted the callousness that had engulfed them. Shortly thereafter, Terrence Hendrick was outside his home, which was located approximately 1/3 of a mile away from the location of the attack. Hendrick heard a faint female voice asking for help, but he could not see anyone in the darkness. Eventually, Hendrick saw Zimmerman walking slowly toward his house. When Zimmerman reached Hendrick's house, she asked for assistance and sat on the front steps. As he waited on the porch with Zimmerman, Hendrick noticed that she had suffered a significant head injury, did not appear to be wearing clothes, and had a strong odor of gasoline. He testified that her skin was black and he could not identify her race. At 9:24 p.m., an emergency medical technician, EMT, arrived at the scene. When the EMT approached Zimmerman, he observed her sitting on the porch, rocking back and forth with her arms straight out. Due to the extensive nature of Zimmerman's burns, the EMT testified that he could not initially identify whether she was wearing clothing. The EMT noticed that Zimmerman's skin was falling off her body, and he believed that over 90% of her body was burned. She had severe head trauma, and her jaw was either broken or severely dislocated. The EMT explained that the extent and severity of the burns prevented him from providing Zimmerman medical assistance. He testified that while he generally placed sterile gauze and oxygen on burns, he did not have enough gauze to cover her entire body. He attempted to stabilize her neck, but her skin was charred to such an extent that he could not touch Zimmerman without her skin rubbing off onto his gloves. Despite her injuries, Zimmerman was conscious and alert. She identified Brown and Lee as her attackers and told the EMT that she was drug out of the house, tased, beaten in the head with a crowbar, and then set on fire. She also provided her address as well as the addresses of her attackers, and asked the EMT to protect her children. Within a few minutes, Zimmerman was transported to the hospital. Inside the ambulance, Zimmerman repeatedly asked if she was going to recover. She told the paramedic that Brown, Miller, and Lee poured gasoline on her and set her on fire. She also stated that she thought they had made up. Zimmerman was stabilized at a local hospital and then transferred to the burn center at the University of South Alabama Hospital in Mobile, Alabama. The assault on Audreanna Zimmerman was a descent into a realm of cruelty that defied comprehension. It was an act so heinous that it would lead to Zimmerman's agonizing death 16 days later. The woods, witness to the unspeakable violence, held the echoes of a tragedy that would forever stain the lives of those involved. Brown, Miller, and Lee were rearrested on April 9, 2010, the day Zimmerman succumbed to her injuries. Brown's confessions to her friend Pamela Valley, revealing the gruesome details of the crime, played a pivotal role in the rearrest. The legal proceedings that unfolded after the arrest painted a vivid picture of the heinous crimes committed by Brown, Miller, and Lee. Key pieces of evidence, including the blood-stained stun gun and crowbar, were presented in court. A DNA expert testified that the blood on the stun gun matched Zimmerman's DNA profile, while the blood on the headrest of Brown's vehicle matched Zimmerman's as well. During the trial, the prosecution detailed the horrifying sequence of events leading to Zimmerman's death. The court concluded that Zimmerman's death was a clear case of homicide. On June 21, 2012, a jury delivered a conviction of first-degree murder against Tina Brown. Ultimately, incarceration became the fate of these three women. Brown, facing the death penalty, is currently on death row at Lowell Correctional Institution Annex. Miller serves her life sentence at Homestead Correctional Institution, while Lee, with her reduced sentence, resides at Lowell Correctional Institution. The brutal event shook the local community and garnered significant media attention. The media, both traditional and social, played a crucial role in shaping public opinion. The details of the case became a grim fascination for many, prompting reflections on the state of human nature and the potential for cruelty even within close-knit communities. In conclusion, the horrifying saga of Tina Brown, Brittany Miller, Heather Lee, and Audreanna Zimmerman transcends a mere criminal case. The tragedy of Audreanna Zimmerman's death serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked violence and animosity.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And subscribe for more videos.